This week on By the Numbers, on our free preview on YouTube, we're taking a look at the consumer and specifically our holiday shopping season. It's short this year with Thanksgiving coming so late, so with only 26 days between Black Friday and Christmas, how is the U.S. consumer going to be spending? Join us as we take you through the numbers.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Bill. You're not Lindsay.
I am not Lindsay. I do not adjust your computer. I am not Lindsay Warnham. We had a last minute. Lindsay and the whole family are sick.
Yes, unfortunately.
So
we're tapping in Bill, who is our fearless producer, willing to hop in the hot seat at a moment's notice. Thanks so much for being here so we can still have a conversation.
I'm excited about this. This is, I purchased these chairs. I haven't actually gotten to sit in them before, so this is nice.
It's a pretty comfy chair, but
this is not bad.
It's
I like
not bad.
this.
But I'm so thrilled because you have been really one of the driving forces behind this show, really someone seeing it from just idea and vision to implementation. So we're doing a kind of different turn the tables rather than Lindsay and I turning the tables, which stay tuned, we'll be doing soon next month. But yeah, we've got you from outside the studio, putting you in here, and we're going to be talking about what I think is some very fun stuff this week.
I'm excited. I love going through the consumer stuff, and that's where we're going. But before we jump into that, it's the Thanksgiving week.
Yes. Which is why we really appreciate Lindsay not getting us all sick right before Thanksgiving.
Very much so.
Very much so. But yes, we're headed into Thanksgiving, or maybe more importantly, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the start of the holiday season.
Oh, man.
I was putting up my Christmas lights all week, or I guess I should say my husband was putting up our Christmas lights all weekend, but it seems early, but Thanksgiving is just so late this year that it is the start of the season.
It is. Okay, hard-hitting question.
Okay.
You ready?
So it begins.
This is what we're going to do. We're going hard-hitting today. Thanksgiving tradition.
Ooh.
What do you got?
Our traditions shift a lot based on where we're doing. My husband and I, we hop around family to family. So I will say it's not a tradition, but I think my favorite memory of this season, not Thanksgiving itself, but the Black Friday shopping. One year, we did Thanksgiving with my aunt and uncle, full Italian feast. So we had ravioli, we're a little out there. But one year, my aunt actually hired a driver to take us to the outlets for Black Friday shopping at midnight, and so as everyone's waiting in traffic on the on-ramps, you remember how crazy things used to be at Black Friday. We were sitting in the back of a car and had someone else to deal with all the stressful traffic and just come and get our bags as we went shop to shop. It was so much fun.
That is cool.
Yeah, I'll never forget that one.
I would love that tradition. Jeeves, no, bring the car around. We're heading over to the Nike outlet.
That's how it felt, I know, especially as we're bargain basement shopping.
Absolutely.
But what about you? What's your favorite holiday tradition?
Ours is a strange one in our house. We have a Thanksgiving food fight.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. It started, I think this is our 32nd year.
Oh, goodness.
It started, we were having a tough Thanksgiving with my parents and I. I'm an only child. And my grandfather had passed away the year before. My mom was upset about it. And my father, trying to lighten the mood, just took a spoonful of mashed potatoes and flung it at her. And me at the time, I don't know, I was 12, 13.
Oh,
I said, well, now it's on.
Oh,
and a full-on food fight ensued. And since then, every year we have repeated that. Some years it's been worse than others.
Oh, no.
If we have guests over for Thanksgiving, which happens a lot, we just don't tell them.
Yeah, no, you're kidding. No, that's a surprise you get.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, people have kind of figured it out. But if we were to have friends that don't really know, they get the gist quickly. We've had people say no thank you to coming to Thanksgiving because of that. Because either they love mashed potatoes or they just don't want to have their clothes ruined.
That's valid.
But yeah, we do that every year, and my kids look forward to it, and they're excited. This year, I got all the plastic all ready to put on the floor, so the cleanup's a little bit easier.
Well, that must be a hint as you come into Thanksgiving. It looks like it
looks like it's a scene from Dexter. Yeah,
perfect. Yes.
Yeah, it's a murder scene.
Excellent. I was going to say E.T., where everything's tented, but I like that you went to murder.
Yeah, well.
Everyone, so welcome to Bill. This is what you get.
This is the hard-hitting journalism you're going to get today. But let's jump in.
But yes.
Let's talk about the consumer. And
Right.
you mentioned earlier Black Friday.
Black Friday.
Black Friday is a tradition. And
Yes.
as we were going through the articles, I was talking about being a kid in the 80s and that being the massive lines, the early morning doorbusters, the fights and arguments trying to get the high-end items, I did it for my kids. They were American Girl dolls for my daughters.
Oh.
And, the pushing and the shoving and the trying to be polite, but it doesn't really work.
But yeah, I remember growing up and not even in the 80s, I didn't realize Black Friday had been around so long, to be perfectly honest. I remember kind of the mid-aughts. That's when I was paying attention to this stuff and people getting trampled. And it was just, you see the footage from like store security screens of just rushing the doors and knocking over the poor employees. But we live in a slightly different world now where I can Black Friday shop right here from my phone. Maybe the good old days of mass tramplings are behind us.
Oh, I hope so. They were no fun to watch. And you just
Fair.
look at people and go, ugh. You get your kids with you and they're like, Daddy, why are they screaming? I don't know. But this first article that we're going to jump into, the title of it is interesting. And it goes like this. It's a shorter holiday season. Does that matter?
Does that matter?
And really the core of this article is the time between Black Friday and Christmas is shorter than it traditionally is.
Yes.
Thanksgiving happens.
Thanksgiving is as late as it could be this year.
Yep.
So it actually is as short a time between Thanksgiving being the fourth Thursday of November and Christmas is always on the 25th. So we only have 26 days, mark your calendars, of Christmas shopping before the holiday season is upon us.
Oh, okay. But the end of the article's title is, does that matter?
Does that matter? Well, here's where, and we're going to really dive into some of the statistics. And at the end of the day, our econ team did a dive into how many days are there historically, right? It varies based on, what day of the month the first falls on. Day of the week the first falls on. So this year, as I said, only 26 days. That is as short as it can get. Now, last year, in 2023, there were 31 holiday shopping days. The year before that, 2022, there were 30. So we have to go back actually to 2019. There were 27 days. And so that's our closest within reasonable history. And even that was pre-pandemic. So as I look at this trend, everything changed in 2020, and we'll talk about some of those shifts in spending behaviors and shifts in, well, especially the sales season. But both last year, 2022 and 2023, the two previous years, we had very lackluster fourth quarter retail sales compared to what is kind of normal, and those were longer holiday shopping seasons. We had more days post Black Friday, pre-Christmas. So we didn't see a really clear trend between the number of shopping days and how strong our retail sales, either in the month of November or in the fourth quarter overall.
Okay. So right now, from a number standpoint, it doesn't really matter, or there's no real good correlation to that.
I haven't found a great relationship now.
But from my perspective, I feel that I remember back in October, Amazon did another Prime Day.
Yes.
As opposed to just having one traditionally. I don't know if we call it traditionally.
I know.
Having it in July, kind of that mid-season Prime Day, they did one in October, and I was already shopping.
Yes.
So is it, I know the shopping season starts on Black Friday.
Right.
But it doesn't really anymore, does it?
It doesn't seem to. That's what's fascinating to me. And again, as we're talking about the 80s and when you had this one physical item that everyone wants and everyone's trying to get, well, now I'm waiting in a virtual queue, right? Or I'm refreshing my page every so often to see if that item has come back in stock. It doesn't feel quite the same as waiting for that doorbuster to drop at midnight and everyone rush out and buy it. This year especially, I think you're onto something. I can't... I can correlate things. I can't say it's causal, the fact that we did have the second Prime Day that caused such high sales. But this October, we did see the strongest retail sales rise off of the September level since 2001. Now,
oh, wow.
So that would really lend itself to this idea that, yeah, maybe the retailers, they saw how late Thanksgiving was. They pulled forward those sales. I know when I open my Amazon app, I'm just blasted with bright orange Prime Week, or sorry, not Prime Week, but Black Friday week, they call it, not even Black Friday anymore. So for this to be the strongest month-to-month rise since 2001, and I did look back at that year, 2001, there were actually 33 days post Black Friday, pre-Christmas.
Okay.
So I was trying to make sense of why was that year so strong in October? There was no pull forward, and well, then I did a little bit of math, and September of 2001 was a pretty bad month for a lot of reasons. So we had some reciprocal bounce, right? That was a lower starting point. In September, it was easier to make a much larger gain.
Got it.
So for this to be the strongest rise since a very one-off event, this is significant this year. Something is clearly happening.
So, from a consumer standpoint, what are we talking about? Is this a debt year? Are a lot of people, going into debt and spending a lot of money on their credit cards, or is it more the strong consumer just doing what they normally do, but capitalizing on those holiday deals?
Right. I have a lot of faith personally in the US consumer right now. So as we've been tracking them, we do expect retail sales generally to be strong. So take out any normal kind of seasonality, we're looking for about 3% or so rise in total retail spending this year. In the fourth quarter, we expect that fourth quarter activity to be up 3.3% from the year ago level. So that doesn't matter if we pulled some forward into October, if it happens in November or even later in December, that last minute shopping, we still do expect pretty healthy rise. And the big reason behind that is something that we have been talking about just week in and week out, and that's the strong jobs market. More people today have jobs. Wages are still rising, so more people making more money. That means we still have income available to spend. Now, to your question, we are starting to see a little bit more of that go on plastic. We are seeing rise in the total share of just credit card debt outstanding, right? How much money is yet to be paid off on the credit card. But I'm not worried about that. I know I've shown the chart in the past. We are still it's about 14.6% of earnings, median earnings is in credit card debt right now, which isn't as good as we were just a couple of years ago. That was a very, very strong kind of starting point post-pandemic. Right. But this is about as low as we've ever seen those stat metrics during so-called normal times. So as I look back, I mentioned the mid-aughts, right, where we're trampling people to get those deals. We had significantly higher credit card debt back in that run-up to 2008. We're nowhere near those levels right now.
Are we seeing a lot of consumers? I mean, obviously, we're seeing a lot of consumers jump into the online space rather than the retail space.
Right, exactly. We're not going to the store anymore and saying, hey, what's your deal, right? What's the deal of the day that I need? And we are seeing customers respond. Now, e-commerce, still a very large and growing share, but it's actually not the majority of how we spend our money. A lot of our big ticket items, especially, we do like to still go buy in person. Less so for something like holiday shopping, where, as you mentioned, I know I have just a million tabs up on my phone and say, all right, I'm going to wait and see if this, maybe free shipping will be on their website. Maybe something will, like those promos. Sure. But it seems like more and more consumers are doing just what you mentioned, that kind of budgeting. I know what a good price is for this item, so I'll kind of look around, see the landscape, know when to pull the trigger. It's not necessarily Black Friday. So the direction that this article really talked about is that we're not waiting for that best possible deal at 12:01. We have to click purchase. We have to pull the trigger. This is a shopping holiday, not a bargain holiday in quite the same way. And in fact, there was a survey done in September. It said 32% of U.S. shoppers plan to start their holiday shopping between, get this, July and October. So we aren't even waiting for Thanksgiving. We aren't even waiting for November anymore. It's increasingly being pulled forward and forward and forward. And I know we were talking before the segment, you have to have somewhere good to hide it if you have kids, and you do your shopping early because the kids are going to look for it. Luckily, mine is still too young, but I know that's a game you play.
That's just a quick highlight reel of some of the consumer advice and information that we've gone over this last year here on By the Numbers.
And what's really exciting to me is that these forecasts are still in place from when we spoke about them back then. I know we love to get a little, we'll show our report card. Cool. As you all know, we do have a report card of how close our accuracy was that we put out once we get final year-end data. But for me, I think this is just a good takeaway that the econ forecast that we have here at ITR, that is what's behind all of my numbers. That's why I personally get really excited when we get to cut through the headlines, because I still stand by what we said in these articles. That general story is still in place, still taking shape, and we'll see how it runs through the rest of this holiday season, our very short post-Black Friday holiday season. But we'll be reporting back on it.
We will. And for those of you out there, we want to wish you a happy holiday, a safe travels if you are traveling for Thanksgiving. And we will see you guys next week with our next episode of By the Numbers. And I promise Lindsay will be back. So, but from all of us here at By the Numbers, have a great holiday, and bye, Lauren.
Bye, Bill.